Hollis Full of Love, CEO and founder of Crane Financial. I'm here with somebody I'm blessed to call a friend now, my man Marquez Carlisle. Go ahead and introduce yourself, bro.
I'm Marquez Carlisle, CEO and founder of Carlisle Realty Group.
Okay, man. Marquez is deeply invested in real estate, man, and I think his story is extremely unique and extremely beneficial for people to hear. Anybody that's looking to get involved in real estate on several different sides, whether it be from a flip perspective, whether it be you want to get long-term holds and do rental properties. I think Marquez has a very unique and dope perspective that he can share out to the people, man. So, Marquez, just tell us, man, how did you get started, bro?
So I got started years ago. It's crazy, probably like 8-9 years ago.
Okay.
I got started when I was probably like a sophomore in college. I got a pretty
you don't really hear that very often, man.
Right.
Don't say it so light. Like, that's not a small feat.
Right. I got a really solid scholarship where my refund checks was right around probably like almost 20 grand.
Oh wow!
Every semester.
Oh man.
So I started putting that money up. I always worked as well because I had to earn a certain amount of the total cost of attendance.
Right.
And with that money, my grandmother, she had called me one day and told me about the auctions they be having here.
Right.
And she told me I should check it out. And that following summer, I checked it out. I purchased some property, and I've been going ever since.
Man, so like you talk about the auctions, like everybody always talking about the auction. I don't think a lot of people know there's several different auctions, right? You got the sheriff sale, which is a monthly auction, right?
Right.
And then you have like the tax sale, which is twice semi-annually in the state of Indiana. Which one were you involved in? Was it the sheriff sale? Was it the tax sale?
So mostly when I was starting off, it was just the surplus sale. So that's the sale where about 6 to 8 weeks,
right,
you will get your deed.
Yeah.
Since then I've been indulging in different auctions. I've been to both sheriff and tax sale.
Right.
Preference wise, I definitely like the surplus sale back then, but since then it's definitely been diluted.
Right. A lot of more people getting out to it. Everybody talking about real estate. Social media, I feel like, has blown it up a little bit, right?
Definitely.
So it's not a secret anymore.
Definitely.
Right. So you was able to grab a large amount of properties, right?
Yeah.
And in a short amount of time. And what was your strategy with them? Was that something that was overwhelming, especially at 20 years old? You didn't really. Did you have anybody that was walking you through the process?
No, not really. Like I said, my grandmother, I grew up fixing on houses for her. But again, I really didn't have like the type of knowledge that I felt like it took in order to really be successful in it.
Right.
So it was more so something like, I'm leaping out on faith.
Right.
And
You got to take that leap.
Yeah, I'm gonna see what happens. And during that 2.5 month span during the summer, I basically had to get the property rehab and get it sold,
right,
because I really wasn't thinking long term as far as renting or anything like that. And it definitely put a lot of pressure on me, but all in the same breath, everything worked out,
right,
and I was able to, continually flip property.
Wow. So fast forward now, right? Well, not even, let's talk through the story even about being in school, right? So this is happening your sophomore year in college. You're able to actually find a way to make some money without having to clock in. It wasn't anybody telling you what to do. It's you. Your grandmother gave you a bit of guidance, but you learned that you can take your risk and it's a reward at the end. Not always, right? But did that deter you from finishing school? Did you ever have any thought process of saying, I'm going to just jump out of here, or maybe even shift your studies in school to maybe more of a real estate focused study?
No. What's crazy is just like my mom was just so centered on making money,
right?
And I feel like it was a good thing. It led me to, what I'm doing now, but all in the same breath, it was kind of a bad thing as well, because I was coming from a place where, everyone in my family, they're just surviving.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Right. No,
so
I do.
When you focused on just surviving, you kind of miss out on the big picture.
It's so hard when you're looking at just trying to make it to the next meal or the next day to even see what could be in the large scale.
Exactly. So then so that just my mindset was just more so about money opposed to really figuring out the details of really what I was doing.
Right.
It wasn't until later on where I started self-educating myself and really started realizing what I was doing were was when I was able to, take things to a new level.
Right, and it almost sounds like you're saying at that such a young age, you were looking at it almost as just like a hustle, right?
Right.
Not even something that you can really potentially build a real business off of, and something that was sustainable for you and your family and could feed your family for generations.
Yep.
Right. So where did it start shifting into where it became more serious? You said you started self-educating yourself. At what point in the process of that? Was this at the point where you're going towards graduation? Was this at the point where you're going like junior year? Is it senior year? What point was that?
I would say probably junior year, senior year. I had already did so many flips at that point. Then it hit me. I feel like I catch on kind of fast.
Right.
So it hit me. I'm like, yeah, I got a nice chunk of change, but I knew I didn't want to work for anyone.
Right.
So it's just like the money stopped as soon as I stopped.
Right.
And I didn't like that. So that forced me to start realizing, okay, I'm gonna have to switch it up. And how I had to switch it up was I got to start, instead of selling these properties, I got to hold them. I got to rent them out. And, that's a whole different ball game in itself. And with me being at school, I had started off with one double that was written out. And the money was coming in, but it was kind of hard to manage with me being at school.
And you was 45 minutes away. You can't just hop on the highway. You might have a test. You might have class.
Exactly.
Right. I can imagine that had to be extremely difficult. So with you being at school, that was one of the obstacles, and you being able to expand your business?
Yes. So, but it was good because I got to experience it before I graduated. So, but once I finally graduated, because I was debating on, doing this full-fledged or going to law school.
Okay.
And, once I really sat back and had to think like, do I really want to go to law school? Is this something that I'm really passionate about, or is this just something that sounds good?
Right. Right. It's something that's, and like especially since you went to school, you got a scholarship. I could imagine that's like a very terrifying choice to make, right? Because people are expecting certain things of you, being that you're an educated young man. Now you have the opportunity to go further educate yourself, but you saw an opportunity to really grow and build legacy and do something that you love, right? So, did you have any trouble explaining that to your family or explaining it to your friends? Did people not get it at first?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like one of the biggest challenges with that was, you come to a point in your life where you've already exceeded everybody's expectations, right? And like I said, when you're coming from a place where it's poverty stricken,
it's survival.
It's
not just thrive, but survive.
It's just straight survival. You don't really have anyone to kind of go to be like, well, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do? Right? So, a lot of times what I see is they say like, well, yeah, go be a lawyer, go be a doctor, go do this. And all of those are very respectable professions.
Right.
But all in the same breath, I feel like when you coming from those type of places, what they really saying is just make a lot of money.
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Or get out of here.
Just get out of here.
Yeah.
So I had to sit back and really realize like, okay, I hear what you're saying, but is that really going to lead to what I want to build?
Right, happiness.
And, all during the same time with me flipping and renting and gaining more business experience, I'm also realizing as well that, our education system is kind of rigged,
right?
As it pertains to real world.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of almost like putting you in a position to become an employee, which is not a bad thing. It's respectable, but it's nobody's teaching you how you can necessarily get ahead.
Exactly.
How you can elevate to that higher echelon, to the top level.
Exactly. So learning that, and I'm also learning that school is not teaching me how to become financially independent. It's not teaching me how to become more financially literate.
Right.
So it's really not teaching me how to become what I'm passionate about.
And keep in mind, when we were going to school, we were around the same age, it was the financial crisis.
Right.
Everything was the worst as it had ever been, right? So they talking about 100% and 99% and 1%, and remember the Occupy Wall Street, stuff like that. All this stuff is going on, and I can imagine with you making your own moves in the parallel to that, you probably thinking like something that connected. What I'm learning in these classes, what I'm doing on my own, and what I'm seeing on the news.
Exactly, and it's just like I'm seeing other people before me. They're getting all these different degrees and they're graduating. And don't get me wrong, being an entrepreneur is not for everybody.
No, definitely not.
But all in the same breath, the people that I'm seeing, they're not really happy.
Right.
You know, or they're complaining about this, they're complaining about that. So it came to a point where it's just like, all right, here's the fork in the road. What am I going to do?
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to choose?
Right.
And I had to choose. I had to take a leap and choose, you know, being an entrepreneur, and you know, with respect to real estate,
mm-hmm.
and I feel like it's probably one of the best decisions I've made as a young man.
Right. So, I mean, without a doubt, we see now. We fast forward to where you at now. You own X amount of properties. You got opportunities to go any avenue you want. The world is your oyster. There's nothing really holding you back. But talk about, as a young black man, what are some of the obstacles you had to face in this process, or even that you still face today?
Right. Starting off, and even still to this day, real estate is such a older man's type of sport.
Right.
The awareness is gaining now,
yeah.
but it's still such an older man's sport. So, you know, with me being young, with me being, you know, African American,
mm-hmm.
It's already had like 2 strikes against me. Then where I'm coming from, where no one's really trying to give, no one's actually looking to help you. Right.
Nobody.
You know,
Nobody gonna grab your hand and say, "Come on, do this, this, and this."
Exactly. No one's looking to give you a leg up. So, you know, once I was able to kind of just sit back and understand that, I had to figure out where I can gain leverage.
Right.
Where I can still make my mark, and and how I can still progress.
100%. So do you feel now, in the position that you're in, again, we still are extremely young. You still have a lot of other things you have to accomplish.
Definitely. That
you have a responsibility to do that with other people?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's important now, you know, and I'm starting to see now, from me taking that leap, you know, almost 10 years ago, how it has been able to inspire
mm-hmm.
and motivate people now to also do it.
Right.
You know, because now I feel like people are starting to realize, like, you know,
it's getting icy on this side.
And you just need an extra source of income.
Right.
You know, and it's just a lot. You wanna be able to build something to leave for your family.
Right.
And and you kind of also, you know, after a while, you're gonna start to wanna, you know, walk to the beat of your own drum.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know, in one way or another, you're gonna have to learn how to invest your money, and at one point in your life or not. So. You know, I'm starting to understand that, and a lot of people are, you know, are reaching out. So yeah, I definitely feel like I have a responsibility to, you know, give game, spread knowledge,
right.
and you know, empower others, especially my people.
Right. So I think what you said, like you said, it's your responsibility, and nobody necessarily went and grabbed you. I think it's so important that what you're doing, you look like you do, you sound like you do, you approach things the way you do, and me getting able to build a relationship with you, I can only imagine that it's probably kids from the neighborhood you grew up in that see you, or even kids within your own family that see you and say, wow, this is an example that didn't exist before. When we was there, it was like rapper, drug dealer, you play basketball, like people that ran their own businesses. I feel like we never saw them. Right. Or they were so far away we couldn't touch them. Right. So we have the opportunity now to try to, you know, spread as much as we can, be as accessible as we can, you know what I mean, to help other people be successful. And I think that's dope. So in saying that, what is the goal of what you're doing? What is the goal of your company? What is the vision for it, maybe let's say 5 years, 10 years from now?
So the vision for my company would be just to continue to build one of the largest real estate empires, you know, based on integrity, good business, you know, luxury, quality, mm-hmm. affordable housing,
right.
and commercial space. But also a goal is to inspire and motivate.
Yeah.
And you know, with that being said, it's, you know, it's about, like, life is so short, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like people have a tendency to sell themselves short.
Yeah.
You know,
put themselves in a box.
Put themselves in a box, because life, you know, and the people that sometimes you can be dealing with can kind of snuff you of your dreams.
Yeah.
You know, snuff you of what you're really passionate about.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you're not careful and you're not really protecting that energy, you know, you'll throw in the towel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's also a goal to make people really ask, like, why not? Yeah, I still got you know, 100 miles to go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, basically a long way to go before I really get to where I want to be. But in the same breath, it's like, I don't care how many times I fail, I'm gonna get there.
Right.
You know, and why not? You know what I'm saying? Why not go for the gusto? Why not, you know, live out my dream? Why not live an abundant life. I
Right.
feel like we all want to live an abundant life, be able to give and serve on the highest level, be able to tap into our highest level of potential.
100%.
And
100%.
if we don't, then it's just like, you know, what mark are you really leaving?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that's you know, a big goal for me.
Right. So, like you said, this is, first of all, you talk about motivating, inspiring. You doing that. You know what I mean? You doing that.
Appreciate it.
As somebody that, like I said, we the same age. I talk to you all the time. I'm motivated and inspired by you day in and day out just to see the amount of work and focus you have. Speak to that. What is the level of this? Like you said, being an entrepreneur is not for everybody. Right. You wake up, it's not something like, so in my business, I wake up, I don't necessarily have a boss that tells me what to do, but my clients dictate my day to day, right? Whatever their needs are, I have to appease them to keep them satisfied, right? How do you keep yourself disciplined? Is it that you know you have X amount of tenants, or are you just, what is your routine in order to keep yourself disciplined and make sure that you're accomplishing what needs to be accomplished from a day by day perspective, and then looking at the larger goal? Because like we said, there's no roadmap to what we're doing.
Right. For me, it's a couple things. One is my why. You know, I pull motivation from everywhere.
Right.
You know, I got stuff I'm talking about from time I was a little kid to up to now, where it's like I'm pulling from everywhere. And you know, like I said, I came from a place where it was common to, you know, get evicted 20 times, bounce around here. You know, lights be off, water be off for a year.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that in no type of negative or disrespectful way to my parents, but it taught me, you know, you can't play with life. You can't play with opportunities when they present it to you. Right. So one of the biggest motivations is, you know, if God continues to bless me with opportunities, I'm not gonna play with it. Right. So I gotta be disciplined in it. And I've seen how, you know, me being able to jump on certain opportunities 10 years ago are still paying me. Right. And you know, it's still growing now. And outside of that, it's also like, the closer I get to my goals and the more goals and dreams I accomplish on my own, I can see in my family's eyes, I can see in my friends' eyes, and just people around me. Like, you breathe life and sit back into them.
It's also a confirmation for them. So it's like, well, if he doing it, I can do it. You know what I mean? Like, and that's because we come from the same place. We the same person. You know what I mean? Right. So it's definitely gonna give them a sense of confidence that they might not have had.
Exactly. And when you know what I'm saying, when you doing that and you breathing life into the people around you, it's just like you gotta value that. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like, if you don't go for what you really want out of life, then maybe your nephew, your nieces, or your parents, they might not go for what they really want to go for in life. Yeah. So it's just like, you know, that in itself, and it's also, like I said, it's, you know, from the time that you're born to the time, you know, when, you know, you're not here, that little dash in between, that's your legacy. Yeah. Yeah, you know, 100%. And that's the time, that's the effort, that's the discipline, that's the impact that you made here on this earth. Right. And you ain't gonna do that just not doing nothing. Right. You ain't gonna do that just always playing. You know, it's all about balance, but all in the same breath, it's just like opportunities don't wait on nobody.
100%.
So staying disciplined for me is also just, you know, realizing. Hey, God bless me, so I gotta. Got
a responsibility.
Yeah, I got a responsibility.
Right, to keep sowing that seed. But man, look, so many gems, man. I don't think you can't give them all away for free. You got to write a book, brother. We thank you for your time, man. You know what I mean? I appreciate you just giving us a little glimpse into what you have going on, and I think it's so dope and inspiring, and you're gonna help so many people, man. I appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you.
Man, love.
There you have it. We like to give a special thanks to our guests. And for more financial education from Crane, visit our Facebook, Instagram, or website listed in the description below. See you next time on Crane Conversations.